A very good morning and welcome back. You're watching World News and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. The next trilateral talks will likely take place in March in Abu Dhabi. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said in his nightly address, adding that preparations are underway for a meeting at the level of country leaders.
Today, I spoke several times with Rustem Umerov, David Arakhamia, and the American president's representatives, Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner, as they were wrapping up their meetings. There is more readiness for the next trilateral meeting. Most likely, the next meeting will be in the Emirates, in Abu Dhabi. We expect the gathering to happen at the beginning of March to finalize everything that was agreed for real security guarantees and to prepare a meeting at the level of country leaders. This particular format could advance many things. In the end, leaders make decisions on key issues, and in such a personalized regime as Russia's, it is even more so compared to other countries. The war has to come to an end. This is our position. This is the position of Ukraine. This is the position of all our partners. But unfortunately, everyone sees now that there is no readiness from the Russian side, and there is no evidence for now that Putin is halting his war machine. On the contrary, he is preparing to further pursue war, and the world has to be ready to put pressure on Russia for this to change.
The International Monetary Fund approved an $8.1 billion four-year loan for Ukraine on Thursday. $1.5 billion of the total will be disbursed immediately to help the government in Kyiv stay afloat as the costly war drags into its fifth year. $1.5 billion program was approved in 2023. Will help Kyiv maintain economic stability and keep public spending flowing, the IMF said. The fund's managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, who visited Kyiv earlier this year, said the loan would resolve Ukraine's balance of payments problem and boost prospects for reconstruction. According to a new joint report by the EU, the UN, World Bank and the Ukrainian government, the cost of rebuilding Ukraine once the war ends will likely exceed $580 billion. We can't shut our eyes and ears, said the Polish foreign minister in his address to the parliament on Thursday. Radosław Sikorski believes that while the U.S. remains Poland's most important partner, Warsaw can't pretend that transatlantic relations haven't changed.
The annual speech from Poland's foreign minister serves as a sign of things to come for the country's foreign policies. This time it included the expected words of support for Ukraine, but transatlantic relations quickly took center stage. The Polish foreign minister also focused a lot on relations with the United States. And while he said that the US continues to be Poland's biggest and most important ally, there was also a big grain of salt. The Polish foreign minister even went as far to say that while the US will be Poland's biggest partner, we still can't be, quote, suckers.
Europe has been tossed to the side, while Russia is described as a potential partner for an economic reset. We read that in the US national security strategy and hear that in discussions. We have been and will remain a loyal ally of America, but we cannot be suckers.
After the speech, I asked Minister Sikorski if he could expand on that comment. What do you mean by that? But he felt the message was clear.
I think it speaks for itself.
And for many Polish people, the Trump administration's approach to Europe speaks for itself too. In the latest opinion poll on trust towards foreign politicians, 56% of Poles said they don't trust Donald Trump, while just 25% said they do. It's a massive difference to his predecessor, Joe Biden, who was trusted by almost 75% of respondents in 2022. Still, Minister Sikorski, who's consistently scored as one of the most trusted politicians in Poland in recent surveys, made sure to stress that transatlantic unity remains one of his top priorities, even if it doesn't for Washington. This earned him some unusual praise from Poland's Conservative president and Trump ally, Karol Nawrocki.
I am happy that Minister Sikorski, even if he did it with a large dose of skepticism, described Poland's relations with the United States as our country's strategic obligation.
But little agreement can be found between the centrist government and the conservative opposition when it comes to Poland's place in the European Union. This was reflected even in the setting for the press conferences by President Nawrocki and Minister Sikorski, and Sikorski's stark warning to the right-wing Eurosceptics in his address.
It's not EU membership that makes us lose sovereignty. On the contrary, it's thanks to our regained sovereignty that we are able to join the EU. Let's look at the numbers. From the moment we joined the EU until September 2025, we received nearly 268 billion euros. During that time, we paid in 99 billion euros. The calculations are simple.
So, overall, Poland's foreign policies for the upcoming year will be the continued and unwavering support of Ukraine, strengthening of Poland's security, especially through its relations with its European partners, and navigating the tough relations with the United States, while Poland still considers the US to be its most important ally. From Warsaw, Kazimierz Łysiak, TVP World.
The number of Russia's hybrid attacks in Europe is growing, and Poland is the main target. The latest Globsec study shows, with most of the agents recruited by Moscow participating for personal financial gain.
The French Navy's flagship, the Charles de Gaulle, seen here docking on Wednesday in Malmö, Sweden, the latest target of Russia's hybrid war. Public broadcaster SVT reported on Thursday that it had been buzzed by a Russian drone that was neutralized by Swedish armed forces. Also Thursday, police were put on alert across Sweden after reports of threats to its power grid, according to the TV4 television channel. The Kremlin's hybrid war is the subject of a new study, which found that Poland now stands out even more clearly as the primary focus of Russian activity, with 31 attributed incidents, followed by France, Lithuania and Germany. The International Centre for Counter-Terrorism and Globsec investigated 151 incidents, including arson, vandalism, criminal damage and other attacks. Poland's top position reflects the country's level of backing for Ukraine. Much of Russia's recruitment of so-called disposable agents, who could be disowned if caught, occurs via social media.
This online recruitment really resembles terrorist recruitment, as has been done, for instance, by ISIS. But then what we also see as quite an important pattern, and which I believe is often overlooked, is in-person recruitment.
The study of 172 people found half of them had been recruited in person, frequently via family members. Experts say as Russia fails to make meaningful progress on the battlefield, it will likely further ramp up hybrid attacks.
And this is the way Russia prods and tests. You know, it sees how far it can go, and it's quite shocking to see some of their hybrid techniques these days that go as far as the United Kingdom and other places. So,
while the war continues, Ukraine's backers can expect more Russian disruption, disinformation and hybrid attacks. John Todd for TVP World.
Viktor Orban has accused Ukraine of planning to sabotage Hungarian energy infrastructure. The Hungarian Prime Minister is trying to mobilize his base by spreading anti-Ukrainian narratives ahead of upcoming parliamentary elections this April. The latest polls show Orban's Fidesz party lagging some 20 percentage points behind the opposition TISA party. Our correspondent Andrew Sweeney has this report.
With just 45 days until the Hungarian general election on April 12th, the country's Prime Minister Viktor Orban appears to be getting desperate. The day after a poll showed Orban's anti-EU Fidesz party losing by 20% to the pro-Europe TISA, the Prime Minister published an open letter to Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
For 4 years you have been working to force Hungary into the war between your country and Russia. We also see that you, Brussels, and the Hungarian opposition are coordinating efforts to bring a pro-Ukrainian government to power in Hungary. You have blocked the Druzhba oil pipeline. I therefore call on you to change your anti-Hungarian policy.
The Druzhba pipeline was damaged in late January due to Russian military action, according to Kyiv. Orban claimed, without evidence, that Ukraine stopped the flow of Russian oil deliberately. Orban also claims Ukraine plans to attack energy infrastructure in Hungary. He's deployed soldiers and blocked the EU's 20th sanctions package against Russia and a €90 billion loan for Kyiv.
This has always been his strategy, pointing some enemies, in quotation marks, of Hungary, and he is the great defender.
Fidesz has also produced AI videos of Hungarians dragged to war, and anti-Ukrainian posters have been plastered across Hungary's cities. But its campaign doesn't appear to be working. According to Hungarian television channel ATV, 95% of the public believes there's no risk of Ukraine attacking the country's energy infrastructure.
As if Ukraine had any intention to harm to Hungary, to attack Hungary.
In Warsaw, Magyar's first destination should he win the election, Orban's actions were met with outrage. Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski described Orban's government as desperate.
They're pushing a narrative that Ukraine could attack Hungary. I think these are desperate attempts of a populist movement that prides itself on attacking victims of aggression.
And President Karol Nawrocki, whose Law and Justice party once saw Orban's Fidesz as an ally, condemned the importation of Russian energy.
Not only is importing Russian gas undesirable for reasons of energy security, it goes against Polish interests. That's my opinion.
Increasingly isolated abroad and behind in the polls at home, Orban faces an uphill struggle to maintain his position.
A two-day strike of public transport workers began in Germany on Friday morning. This is the second such protest this month alone. Organized by the Verdi trade union, the strike is meant to last 48 hours and end on Sunday morning. The sector's workers are hoping to fight for their pay hikes, a shorter work week, and changes to their shift working system. They also want their rest periods to be extended and bonuses for night and weekend shifts to rise. This is the second such strike this month. The previous one, which you are seeing images of right now, took place at the very beginning of the month and paralyzed much of the country. In the UK, the ruling Labour Party has suffered an embarrassing by-election defeat, piling more pressure on Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The left-wing Green Party took the Labour stronghold of Gorton and Denton near Manchester, with Nigel Farage's anti-immigration reform UK party coming second, pushing Labour into third place. Starmer has faced weeks of political turmoil. Earlier this month, members of Parliament called for him to resign over his decision to appoint Labour veteran Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington, despite his links to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Paramount Skydance, a U.S. mass media and entertainment conglomerate, emerged as the winner in a battle to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery. The development comes after Netflix refused to raise its offer in the bid on Thursday. In December, Netflix was ready to buy part of Warner for $27.75 a share. But then Paramount entered the scene, offering to purchase all of the company for $30 per share in an all-cash arrangement. To secure the deal, Paramount raised its bid to $31 a share on Tuesday. Warner, the owner of HBO Max, DC Studios, and famous titles like Harry Potter, had backed Netflix's proposal for months, but its board eventually found Paramount's $111 billion offer superior. Netflix said the price required to match Paramount Skydance's latest offer makes the deal no longer attractive, so the company declined to meet it. And so this would be all for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm Klaudia, Czerwińska, and I hope to see you back here on TVP World on top of every hour for a portion of some of the latest news.